Hi everyone, Al the Psych here. I have a video for you today for informational purposes only that I have entitled Dealing with Compulsive and Addictive Behavior and the Internet. Okay, it's kind of all over the map, so bear with me on this one, okay? So first of all, what's the difference between addiction and a compulsive disorder? So addiction's a chronic condition that involves taking a substance or engaging in a behavior to gain pleasure and relieve discomfort. Now, compulsive disorders involve experiencing an uncontrollable and overwhelming urge to do something. A compulsion may help relieve the distress caused by an obsession, but it does not produce feelings of pleasure. That's from Very Well Mind. So you're thinking, in that case, you're thinking OCD. Now, I was looking for an actual definition of compulsive behavior, and there's actually it's pretty broad. So I did find something on Neuropsychology Review entitled Defining Compulsive Behavior. This is from 2019. And so their definition of compulsive behavior is: 1, feels as if one has to perform the behavior; 2, is repetitive; and 3, one's aware that it is not in line with one's goals, basically. Okay, so you think about this, and you can apply this to, just about anything, compulsive shopping, compulsive gambling, compulsive porn watching, and the list goes on. And you can also have, compulsive personality disorder where you're just kind of, really wanting to have control and organize things. Okay, so there's like a Venn diagram here where there's a lot of overlap. Now, so in the case of addiction, I'm at least initially gaining some pleasure, say by drinking alcohol or surfing the web. Of course, once tolerance is established, then gaining pleasure becomes more problematic. In compulsions, and I'm thinking OCD here, typically the behavioral compulsion is done to reduce anxiety. So, for example, if I have fear of germs, I may go through a ritual of washing my hands every time, I touch a doorknob. Thus reducing or eliminating my anxiety, at least for that time. And then, like I said, just with compulsive behaviors in general, there's kind of an organizational sort of component to it. And like I said, there's a lot of overlap between compulsive behavior, addiction, that sort of thing. Now, I thought it would be interesting to use internet addiction as a topic of discussion here. So there are different types of internet addictions, but let's just say it's addiction to information seeking. And I got some information from Duke University, and an addiction to the internet would be when, I think about being online almost constantly. If I'm not online, I'm thinking about the next time that I can be online. Or when there was the last time I was online. I need to be online longer and longer each time before I feel satisfied. See what's happening here. I've tried to control, reduce, or stop my internet use, but I haven't been able to do so. I feel irritable or depressed when I try to reduce the amount of time that I'm on the internet or when I can't get online. The way I use the internet has threatened a relationship with someone I care about, my job, my schoolwork. I lose track of time when I'm online. I sometimes lie to important people in my life about the amount of time I spend on the types of activities I participate in on the internet. Being online helps me forget about my problems or improve my mood when I'm feeling sad, anxious, lonely. So, there's a lot of items there, as you can see. So, how to regulate your behavior. Again, this is from Duke. Now, there's really no way to totally abstain from using the internet. Okay, we're just going to have to accept that. It's a little different than if you were to abstain from alcohol. There's a lot of success with that, but the internet is just, within our homes everywhere. And there are actually programs for alcoholics to where they can actually drink. It's not common, but they do have some programs like that. And I actually have some some videos on that in terms of addiction, and there's a small little blurb about that, but it's not too common. Anyway, so how to regulate internet behavior? Well, one of the things is, you take breaks. For example, try to take a 15-minute break for every 45 minutes of internet use. Fill your free time with activities that are physically intense or require a lot of concentration to distract you from thinking about going online. Or find another preferred activity. I mean, we used to do this when I worked as a school psychologist. Sometimes students would get fixated on their preferred activity. Okay, but they had to rotate off and go and do something else. Well, we'd see if we can find another preferred activity. Maybe it didn't have quite the power of the first preferred activity, but you find something that's still preferred. Okay. Now, Duke mentions don't bring your smartphone or tablet with you when you leave the house. I don't know if that's possible or even recommended, but maybe make it a little bit more difficult to access your phone. When you drive, maybe you put it in your glove box and lock the glove box, or stick it in your trunk, or something like that. I mean, decades ago, when people were trying to learn to stop smoking, one of the things they had them do was actually tie up their pack of cigarettes, so that every time they got a cigarette, it was a lot of work to untie it, and then they had to tie it back, and so just to make it a little bit more of an aversion sort of a situation. Another thing, keep track of non-essential internet use. For example, use that isn't related to school work or work that you're doing. See if you notice some patterns here. Do you go online when you're bored? Are you going online to relieve feelings of loneliness or depression? Okay. Make a list of things that you enjoy or need to get done that don't include the internet. Okay. If you feel tempted to go online, choose an activity from your list instead. And I'm adding some stuff here too. It's not all from Duke. Like, establish a routine. I can go online only for this amount of time, from this time to that time during the day, and then right away I have another activity that I'm going to do. And if I'm having an issue, maybe I'm feeling anxious about going back online, maybe I use some mantras, or I do some exercise, or I do some relaxation activities. Or if I'm really at a significant point, maybe I establish a sponsor-like scenario with a friend of mine. Okay, so you see how that kind of works with addictions and compulsions. Now I'm going to throw in one more example here, because it's so easy to do. I put in compulsive buying, and it's important to be aware of what triggers there are and to be prepared. It's so easy to buy things you really don't want when you're on the internet. It's just so easy. So it can help by actually having a cheat sheet with you, reminders stating what you what to do while you're shopping. Okay, so for example, have a list of items that you need. Only items that you need. If you see something that's not on your list, you don't need it. Okay. If possible, don't shop on a computer. That just makes it so easy. But whether you're on the computer or you're in the store, have that list with you. If you find yourself starting to lose self-control, again, you have a routine of, if you're using the computer, shutting down the computer, looking at your list, going through your relaxation ritual, your mantra, your preferred activity. You have that laid out, and you actually can put that on your list. If I'm struggling, with buying, this is what I am going to do. Therapists, when they work with compulsive buyers, usually it was, I think of years ago, and they would work with the clients. They would actually go out to the store, and they'd have the list, and they'd work with them, in vivo, and they'd ask the clients to create a list of acquisition questions to carry with them. Do I have anything like it already? Okay, so that could be on your list. Do I have a place to keep it? Do I really need it? If I want it now, will that wanting change tomorrow? Can you project yourself into the future to where that intensity of wanting it wanes if you put it off for a while? Okay, as opposed to impulsive buying, if you can just put it off for a day. Let's see if that intensity has dropped. Now, final point, I think this is probably the most important part of the whole video. Just like individuals trying to stay sober, relapse is to be expected. Okay, so I think if you know what makes it easier to keep on trying instead of falling into the mindset of I can't do it. If I know that I will at some point lapse, it makes it easier on me. It's like I'm not going to beat myself up that much because I know I will lapse at some point, and I just get back on the horse, as opposed to lapsing and thinking I just can't do it, I'm a failure, there's no way. Whole different mindset there. So that's probably the most important point here. If you lapse, okay, you lapse, and then you just start from square one again. It is to be expected. That happens so much with individuals who are trying to stay sober. Yeah, they lapse and they start all over again. Same thing here with compulsions. Yeah, you can lapse. Okay, start all over. See if you can use the data that you were collecting. When did it happen? Was I feeling bored? Was I feeling upset? Blah, 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 blah. What could I have done that I didn't do? Okay, those types of things should be helpful. Now, I know I've kind of rambled on here, but there's so much information. I wanted to try and get as much in as I could in a relatively small amount of time. And that's it. Thank you.